Hey, what's going on, everybody? Let's do something different today. I'm going to make a bass player tier list. I went and I found a random list of the top however many bass players in rock and metal, and I picked a few at random, and I'm going to rank them according to how I think they are. I'm not going to take into consideration their contribution to music. This is solely a list on do I like them as a bass player. So without further ado, let's get this list started. So we have S tier, which is the top of the top, all the way down to F, which is this bass player fucking sucks. All right, so we're gonna start off with John Myung from Dream Theater. There is no way to deny the talent that this man has. Dream Theater their members are extremely educated on music. A lot of bass players know that they're playing amazing stuff, but John knows what, why, how, when he's playing the amazing stuff. His technique is flawless. His speed is unparalleled. So for that reason, John goes up here in S tier. Let's move him to S tier. All right, coming up second, we have Michael Anthony from Van Halen. Now, a lot of people, when you think of, the most memorable bassists, you don't really consider Michael Anthony. But if you listen to a Van Halen album, you can hear some of the most incredible bass work that has graced any album, really. And not to mention his backing vocals. You know when you're getting backing vocals from Michael fucking Anthony right here. The man, he's a phenomenal bass player. Was he outshined because he was in the band with Eddie? Of course. As a bass player, I know what that's like. All bass players know what it's like to be outshined by someone because it sounds fancy. But as a bass player, that man cannot go unappreciated. Skill-wise, he wasn't the best of the best. Nobody's, absolutely having a panic attack, struggling to find out how he played it. But when he was in the pocket, he was in the pocket, and his note choices were perfect. I think Michael Anthony goes here in the B tier, which is very respectable. That's a respectable tier. We're not going to knock it because it's not an S or an A. Michael Anthony is a great bassist and deserves a B. Now we have Les Claypool of Primus. Les Claypool can play slap bass like no one I've ever heard. Everyone knows the story of Metallica saying, you're too good. And I don't think they meant you're too good as in you're a better musician. I just think they meant like the stuff you play and the way you play it is not a fit for Metallica, but it's damn good and it's so innovative. And this man is responsible for an entire genre of bass playing. He easy S. There's no other choice for him. Les Claypool gets an S. All right, so now we come to Cliff Burton. Anybody that knows me knows that Cliff is my hero. He single-handedly shaped the way I play bass today. If you listen to those first 3 Metallica albums, his footprint is everywhere. He invented lead bass playing in the thrash metal world. So where before rock and metal, hard rock, whatever you would have called it, the bass players tended to follow the guitarist. And Cliff Burton said, oh, hell no. I'm going to play lead guitar, but on a bass. The man gets an S. It's no question. Everyone that knows me knew this was going to happen. And then we come to one of the godfathers of bass, one of the godfathers of rock music in general, Mr. Lemmy Kilmister. Was Lenny the most technical bassist of all time? No, not even close. I consider him a rhythm guitar player, but on bass. His music is unparalleled. It was loud, it was heavy, it was aggressive, it was fucking in your fucking face. And it doesn't have to be shiny to be good. There are bass players that can walk all over the stuff that he did as far as technicality goes. But Lemmy gets an easy A just for the way that he played bass was different than anything anyone had ever seen. Where's that rhythm guitar coming from? Oh, it's the bass player / singer. It's just unbelievable. And now we have Jason Newsted. Everyone knows that Jason replaced Cliff over here after the tragic passing. Was he on Cliff's level? No, it's not even close. But we're not comparing each individual bassist. We're comparing, was he a good bassist? That's the question. Is Jason Newsted a good bass player? He's really, really solid. He's phenomenal. He wrote some kick-ass bass stuff for Metallica. King Nothing, great bass part. He didn't have as much pizzazz the way that I like to hear bass. So I'm going to give Jason Newsted a B. I mean, if you're in a category with Michael Anthony, you must be doing something right. And then we have Frankie Bello from Anthrax. Now, when you think of the big four bassists, you think Cliff, of course, but I don't really hear his name get shouted out. But if you pay attention while buried in the mix, his bass parts were unreal. And his energy live, it's unbelievable. The man would run around like crazy, and he had a passion for bass. His lines, there's a few lines that, are really shreddy, but he wasn't known for being, a shredder. He wasn't known as a man who changed the game. But he's a damn good bass player. He's really, really, really solid when he's on point. I'm going to put him up here in a B tier. Another respectable choice. Okay, now we have Tom Araya from Slayer. I really love Slayer. They're one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. But when you think Slayer, you don't think, oh shit, that bassist. Yes, he played and sang, of course, which is one hell of a hard thing to do. But there's a couple Slayer songs where the bass lines are really fucking great. But for the most part, it was let Carrie chug and I will follow. Like I said, it's no easy feat to sing and play. But Tom he wasn't that innovative. There was a bass player to fill out the mix. I'm going to give Tom a D. Don't panic about that. It's just, as a bass player alone, he doesn't stand out for me. Or there's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. One of the most important, in my opinion, bass players of all time. Flea took funk, and he took rock, and he took punk rock, and he fused them, and he invented an entire genre. He invented a play style. You either used to slap bass, all funky like, or you would shred, rock and metal like. And he combined them. He was like, fuck this, I'm not going to be in a box. The stuff he plays, some of it's almost unplayable unless you have 25 years in the game. His technique is flawless. The stuff he writes is so memorable. And I think Flea deserves an S tier. There just won't be another Flea. And because of Flea, the Red Hot Chili Peppers have lasted the test of time, and they're still one of the top bands playing. Now we come to Geezer Butler, Black Sabbath. I said I'm not going to take their contribution to music into consideration. I'm going to take, are they a good bass player? And I'm going to make that, do I love the stuff they write? Geezer Butler, the answer is fuck yeah. Who doesn't? If you listen to the intro to NIB, if you listen to any Black Sabbath song, he's going crazy in the background. But, particularly NIB, that opening bass thing, it's unbelievable. He did take music to a place that it had never been. Black Sabbath entirely did. But this man, it was technical, but not technical in it took me 30 years to learn this song. But for the time and for what it still stands today, Geezer gets an A tier. Just an all-around great musician. Geddy Lee. Rush is another one of those bands that you either like or you don't like. I've never met someone who was like, yeah, Rush isn't bad. They either fuck Rush or I love Rush. Now, to play and sing the stuff he does in the way he does, it's unbelievable to me. To hear someone with that high of a range playing the things he does while playing, and also playing keyboard, and being a genius musician is that. at that. He didn't write simple stuff that anybody could play. It was technical. There were so many, syncopation things he was doing with the drums. There's never been a bass player like that. There probably never will be again. The only thing that holds me back from giving him an S tier is there's more than a few Rush songs that I skip. Skippable songs, yeah, they might have a hell of a bass part. But, Rush has one of those categories where their music is amazing. The songs are great, but it's not every song. He doesn't have any flawless bass lines, bass albums. And then we have David Ellefson of Megadeth, formerly of Megadeth. So everybody knows what this guy did. Everybody knows the allegations. Everybody knows, what happened. I don't care about that when it comes to this tier list. I'm judging him on, was he a good bass player? Is he a good bass player? He's very good bass player. His sound and the way he played, albeit with a pick, that's fine. It made some damn fine fucking Megadeth records. Rust in Peace, his bass lines are really, really, really incredible. I'm going to give David a B tier. That's not to take anything away from him. It's just, that's where I feel good about B. I think being in league with these guys, and especially these guys, is a little too much high praise for David. But like I said, if you disagree, let me know in the comments below. All right, Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses. Duff, his bass parts are all over the Guns N' Roses albums. You can hear them. It's not like one of those, what is the bass player doing? For the sound they had, the bass was a feature. He wrote some really, really solid pieces of music. Guns N' Roses albums have a really good bass presence. But it's not like someone couldn't do it having been playing for only a year. It was a little simplistic, although the note choices were fucking great. So I'm going to give him a C tier. We have Justin Chancellor of Tool. He is a really, really, really solid bassist. The way that he plays and all those fucking odd time signatures, it's really, really hard to play his stuff. And to be able to write music in these odd time signatures with the standards that Tool has. Because everybody knows that Adam Jones and Maynard aren't just going to let shit walk out the door. So for him to be able to last as long as he has in the band he's in, it makes him, it's God level stuff. I'm not going to give him an S because I don't think he's extremely underrated. Like, wow, man, you got to hear this. But he's very good. I mean, there's a lot of bass features on some Tool albums. So Justin gets an A. And then we have Fieldy from Korn. I don't even know if he's still in Korn. I think, wasn't Robert Trujillo's son playing bass in Korn last time I checked? I don't like him. I love Korn as a band, but nobody ever thinks, oh shit, you got to hear the new Korn record. Fieldy's bass. No, they don't think that. It was clicky. It was so low tuned, and that's fine for what it is. I mean, Korn music wouldn't sound the same in standard E tuning, but I just think he is overrated from the people that think he's a god, if there is any. And to me, he's not going to stand the test of time. And 20 years ago, nobody's going to be talking about him. So I'm going to give him an E. An F tier would have been reserved for people that just fucking couldn't play. So this is my list. This is my ranking of these particular individuals. If you like it, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with me and you think I'm a fucking idiot, tell me that in the comments too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great night. Be blessed.